All right, so this topic is it's gonna be kind of out of the norm, I would think, but I don't know. I never really set. I don't think I ever really set the precedence for really anything, or any criteria for the kind of videos that I would be putting out. I just always kind of put videos that I feel like talking about. So the topic that we're going to talk about today actually is a is about Lana Rhoades. Now, for those of you who don't know, Lana Rhoades is an ex porn star, and she has a I think she has a YouTube channel now. I'm not sure. I don't really like if it's not like philosophy and psychology and religion, or those kind of topics. I'm not really super engaged about the things that go on. But anyways, I happened to run across a commentary about Lana Rhoades talking about her quitting porn and the experiences that she had. And I think she has, she has a channel, and she's having a discussion with two other women, and she was talking about the porn industry and how her experiences felt really humiliating for her, and that ever since then it's been really difficult, you could say. Now, so the thing about experiences, it's very difficult to assess exactly what is it that she experienced, and what do I actually mean by that? Because we have a tendency to say, well, she did porn. It's very clear what she experienced. But actually, no, it isn't. It isn't, right? Because what is going on, and this is the significance of Artie Lang in his book called The Politics of Experience, is that what we're seeing, right, is behavior, right? So porn, you could say, is just a witnessing of sexual behavior. The experience itself is completely unknown to us. Completely. We have no idea what it actually is to experience what she experienced. We can maybe give an approximation, but we have no idea, right? And that's the part that I really want to address, because the comments about Lana Rhoades was, I felt like people were being a little too quick to just critique her immediately. I believe one comment was, somebody was saying, well, what is she talking about? The details are very clear, right? And he's sort of alluding to the fact that everyone can see the details about what she experienced because she did porn. It's accessible. And the point that I'm trying to make is that's actually not entirely true. The only thing we do see is just the behavior. We have no idea actually what she experienced. So what is going on is that there's a conflation between experience and behavior. Now, here's the thing. What Artie Lang will say in The Politics of Experience is that we have a tendency, the unseen part is that our behavior is always based off of our experiences from each other. So, to give you an example, me experiencing you is my behavior towards you. Your experience of me as I experience you is your behavior towards me, and my behavior towards you. And so, if we're constantly doing this, we're always trying to think what the other is thinking. As if we were like all-knowing or something about. And so our behaviors are the only things that become very apparent and clear, but the experience itself is never quite clear. And you kind of would just have to listen to Lana and listen, just listen to things that she's saying without already judging what she's saying. And so a lot of the critiques about Lana and what she said about being humiliated by these experiences, one critique was that, well, she has to live with this. She should learn to live with this humiliation. My problem with that is that it's not enough to say this. Because, in my opinion, Lana still doesn't really know exactly what's humiliating. And this is the significance of psychoanalysis, is that it's that I'm not quite sure if Lana feels guilt or feels shame, but I think when she uses humiliation, I think she feels shame. And Adam Phillips does, another psychoanalyst, he does great work about shame. He says shame prevents us from thinking about what could be. Shame once we feel shame, we're already giving in to the ethical background of whatever's going on, right? Basically, it goes unquestioned. That's the danger about shame, is that shame prevents us from seeing what is it exactly that it doesn't want us to see. And that's the question that I would like to ask, Lana Rhoades, is that what is it about the shame, about the humiliation that is so humiliating or so shameful? Or like the way Adam Phillips put it, what is it about shame that is so shameful? And, and so all these critiques about Lana Rhoades, I mean, I really feel like they don't quite go deep enough, right? They say things like, these are just kind of like a survey of the comments on the commentary about Lana Rhoades. Some of the comments were like, well, she should just stop objectifying herself, right? Or she should just give the money back because clearly she earned a lot of money. Now, see, the problem with that is that as people, we don't really know what we want. And that's what Freud will come in to teach us, is that whatever we consciously want, we unconsciously want something else. And that will be the real question. What is it that we unconsciously desire? And so Lana Rhoades is clearly ambivalent about what she wants. She doesn't know, she's conflicted. She doesn't know exactly what she wants. And so she thought that doing porn, doing some kind of sexual liberation and getting money for it would be what she would like, what she would desire. What she ended up finding out is that that's not what she desires. And, if we're being really honest with ourselves, really can't blame her for that. Now, I don't. Now, the other thing is the question of, well, she has to live with it, right? She should live with it. I'm not really sure. I don't think it's about living with it, because the thing is, living with what? We don't even know exactly what is it that she's living with. You know what I mean? She's had an experience, and we don't really know what that is. Now, that's the significance of what I'm saying about we know the details of the behavior that we saw, right? We know the behaviors that she said that were displayed. The one thing that we don't know is her actual experience of it. And so what you're saying is that she has to live with it. Well, the thing is, she doesn't exactly know what she has to live with. And the only way to find out what she would have to live with is that she would have to talk about it. And we would have to figure out exactly what is it that is difficult to live with. Because it's never quite apparent what that actually is. And that's the significance of Freud and Carl Jung and so on and all the other psychoanalysts, is that it's never really quite apparent about what is it that we desire and what is it that is troubling us. I think I think that it really basically gets down what I wanted to say about the whole topic. I mean, the problem, and there's a quote by R.D. Laing that I always loved. He said, if you want treatment starts with how we treat each other. That's the real treatment, in a sense. And that's how R.D. Laing looks at treatment. The real treatment is, of course, how we relate to one another. And some of the questions I think about when Lana Rhoades talks about ethical porn. Now, people are sort of mocking her idea of ethical porn because, well, to be honest, it's quite ambiguous and contradictory, right? I mean, you would think, like, what is ethical about porn? And could porn be ethical? especially if people, it's funny. In a very secularized world today, people still have probably a very Christian mindset about porn, even though they would claim to be atheists, right? And so I think even the idea of ethical porn is laughable because of that. I think there's something there about that. But anyways, so what is it that she actually means by ethical porn? Now, Lana would say it's more about the vanilla porn. The porn that isn't so rough and so on. Now, I'm going to try to clarify exactly what she's saying. What I think she actually means is, for her, ethical porn would be sex that actually makes you feel like a person and not like an object. I think that's what she actually means by ethical porn. And I think the humiliation that Lana feels is that there's a part of her that feels less of a person. And she doesn't know exactly how to deal or relate to making herself feel again more like a person. And I think that's what the shame prevents her from seeing. I think the shame prevents her from seeing that she has to somehow find a way to make herself feel more like a person again. Because clearly her desire isn't money, and clearly her desire isn't to objectify herself. But of course, what I'm doing right now is that it's all speculation. The one thing that we would have to do is just simply listen to what she has to say. And of course, just by what she's saying, and this is the stuff that I seem to hear from what she is saying. And that's always my concern about when people watch videos on YouTube or listen to people, is that we're already judging before we actually listen. And we're never really quite listening for what is unsaid. And I think that's very important, because we have to be listening in a way that things don't distract us along the way by what she is saying. Freud talks about this. It's a kind of wide attention that we need to have when we're listening. We're not trying to listen for something, but we're listening to everything that is being said. We're having a wide attention rather than kind of listening for a specific thing. But anyways, I think that addresses what I wanted to talk about with Lana Rhoades and her struggles about feeling humiliated with the, in the porn industry and her experience and so on. So I think it's very important, just to summarize here, that though we see the facts, we don't actually see the facts. Or as R.D. Laing puts it, we know the facts, but we don't see the facts. And to see the fact would be to actually know what Lana Rhoades is experiencing. And that is the thing that we don't see. Because really, it's about how she interpreted her experience. That's the thing that we don't know. And the other thing is, I don't even think she knows exactly how she interpreted that experience. Because she's already judging her experience. She feels humiliated. She's already conceding to the kind of consensus of the population. There's already a self-judgment before we could figure out exactly what is troubling her. What is it about that is hard to live with? That's what we would have to talk about, essentially. That's the thing that needs to be talked about. And so it's, in my opinion, it's not enough, and these were a lot of the comments about her and so on, it's not enough to just say that, well, she just needs to live with what she did. And it's not, because she doesn't really know what she did. And I don't think we really know what she did either, and that's exactly what I'm trying to say. We don't know. We'd have to actually talk to her, and we'd actually have to listen to her. And then maybe in that saying of it, we could figure out exactly what is it that's hard to live with. But anyways, I hope that helps. And of course, this is exactly why I love psychoanalysis, because it always sheds a new light on things that we don't notice. All right, guys, take care.